Hey folks, we are now in the NFL Divisional round, and me and my guy Jason here, we're gonna talk about the four previews of the games that will be taken on this weekend. And the first one we're gonna get started is Houston versus Kansas City, which will be tomorrow. Jason, I like this
Yes.
matchup because both quarterbacks are young. Both quarterbacks are young, very talented. And if you're Houston, you just love to continue to people doubt you. They got doubted against the Chargers,
Right.
who had a went up against great defense, and now you're gonna go up against uh three-time Super Bowl champions Kansas City. Now, Jason, Patrick Mahomes statistically is not his best, but the team is still thriving, and they had so many games where they just got lucky, like luck played in their favor. So, but I feel that for Houston to succeed in this game, one of the things that they must do is CJ Stroud, he's gonna have to run a lot. He's gonna have to use his legs a lot and put pressure on the Kansas City linebackers and secondary. And just play great defense like the way they did last week against the Chargers, even though it's Kansas City is a different team. But as long as they play defense and CJ Stroud does what he does, they'll be fine.
Absolutely. And right, and like you mentioned, Kansas City has a lot of their wins this year were close games, and they didn't have too many games where they scored over 30 points. And I agree. So if I'm Houston, I need to play, because this is going to be in Kansas City, they're all going to be worked up fans. You have to play, you want to keep the game close into the fourth quarter and then make your move. You got to run the ball and play defense. And if they do that, they'll have a chance to upset the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are about an 8-point favorite. It's not crazy, but it's a sizable, in a playoff game. 8 points is a lot. But that's the kind of game they're going to have to play defensively, and then score when you can. Can't turn the ball over either because they have way too much offense potentially with Mahomes and Kelsey and Hunt that they could put up a whole bunch of points on you.
Yes, you definitely can make mistakes against Kansas City. And what's so intriguing about their offense is that they have so many weapons. Like they could, like even if it's someone new on the team, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the entire offense, they just have a way to bring out the best out of you. Like
Right,
when Tyreek Hill went to Miami, there was some concerns about what's gonna happen now from the receiving standpoint, but they haven't missed a beat.
right. Again, yeah, Kansas City could score a bunch of points. So again, Houston's mindset has to be like how they played the Chargers. You want to play a good defensive game and score when you can.
LA Rams versus Philadelphia. This is a matchup that is going to be a very huge test for the Rams. However, like we said before, the Rams entering the postseason as one of the hottest teams entering the postseason. I did not expect how they just decimated Minnesota last week. I was disappointed because I expected so much more in Minnesota, but the Rams defense showed up. Um, they completely picked up apart Sam Darnold and all the
Right,
receivers. It was just no show for the Vikings offense. But the Rams are going to face a much more tougher challenge in Philadelphia. We
right,
also got to look how Jalen Hurts will respond because, he's looking a little streaky, and we understand that because of the concussion that he had, he was out for 2 weeks. He did
right.
not look his best against Green Bay. But the Rams, it comes down to defense. If you could play defense like the way you did against Minnesota, you have a chance. And you have to find a way to neutralize Saquon Barkley, who is very
Oh,
tough. He's very tough to bring down. So you have to find a way to slow him down.
right. So I mean, the Eagles have the best, if not them or Detroit have the best offensive line. So that's a difference with the
That's
Ram.
another thing.
Right. So that's what. Remember, the Rams got they delivered, I believe, 9 sacks on Minnesota last week. That's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen against Philadelphia. So they have to factor that in. And I'm telling you though, the Rams are very popular. There's a lot of sports show hosts and the print media. A lot of people think the Rams are going to win this game and possibly go to the NFC Championship and even maybe the Super Bowl. So they have a lot of. They're going to play with house money being in Philadelphia, but they have Goff. they're capable of upsetting the Eagles. But again, the Eagles' offense and defense is tops of the league, so it'll be a big challenge for them.
I don't know, Jason, but I feel that in this particular weekend, we could see an upset with one of the four games. I feel it. There's something about it. I just feel it. And Washington versus Detroit, that's the next one we're going to talk about. That could have a potential of being an upset. Jaden Daniels,
No,
he's
he's
got
been
the
sensational.
we're gonna have to see some ID because the way he's been playing, it doesn't look like a rookie at all playing out there. He looks
Right,
like a man that's stepping up. But
right.
Washington, Detroit, they have some playoff history, but and Washington has won all of them, but this is a different situation. We have a Detroit team, number one seed, well
Right.
coached, a lot of talent. Yes, they've been hit with some injuries, but I feel that Detroit, they look at their history and they're trying to write a whole different script. As for Jaden Daniels and Washington, they're basically saying, why not us? Why not now? So, and that's the mentality that I see with Washington. But I just feel that Detroit, they have a lot to prove. They have a chip on their shoulder. They've had a very tough season. As successful they were, they had a tough season by losing several key guys. I just feel like Detroit being at home, number one seed, they just and wanting to go back, want to make runs to Super Bowl, something that they were very close last year.
Right.
They're hungry.
Right. So again, the game's in Detroit, so the crowd's going to be all worked up. They're 8, 9, 10 point favorites. I think they're like 9.5 point favorites last I checked. Um, Detroit has it's either Detroit or Philadelphia. You can flip a coin who has the better offensive line. You know, I'm a big offensive line guy and defensive line guy because that's what wins the games a lot, especially these playoff games. So Washington's ideology should be, they're playing with house money. Nobody expected them to have a season like they had. They have one of the top potential quarterbacks in the league now with Daniels. Um, they have McLaurin at wide receiver. So their defense has played well. Another thing that's underrated with them. So they would have to have similar, what I said earlier. You want to play a close game to the fourth quarter and then make your move, play, good defense, maybe get Goff off his game. Maybe you prevent them from scoring in the fourth quarter, or limit their scoring, and then you steal a win. You win a close game with a field goal at the end or something along those lines. But Washington's capable of pulling the upset. I agree with you.
Let's see. I mean, Washington's defense, their pass defense didn't look impressive last week. Especially on Marshawn Lattimore, who completely got outplayed by Mike Evans, but it took for Jaden Daniels and that final drive to put Washington ahead, and also a fumble by Baker Mayfield that really changed the outcome of the game as well. But the last but not least, Jason, Baltimore versus Buffalo. This is the key game of this weekend. Baltimore versus Buffalo.
Yeah, this is the game everybody wants to see.
It's going to be very cold, 12 degrees. You have two teams that are very good running. Buffalo's running back is a good running back as well. And both Baltimore should not ignore that. Josh Allen, he can run and he could throw. Lamar Jackson as well. Derrick Henry as well. I mean, you just don't know where this is going to go. This is one of those games that it could be a coin toss up. It could go either way. So
Right.
it's going to be very cold, and who's going to make the right adjustments? Who's going to perform under the bright lights? Baltimore, even though for most of the season their defense was but then their defense got so much better in the last couple of games of the season.
Yes, it did.
They're very good on run defense, but their pass defense, there's still some things that they need to clean up. And so yeah, that one is a tough one. It's a tough one, but Buffalo, they've been undefeated at home. They're very good at home. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I mean, you can't write this any better. Two guys that are right there for the MVP. And knowing how media people think, they're gonna judge, win the MVP based on this game. I wouldn't be
Well,
surprised if they judge it because of that.
yeah, this is a dream for the NFL because there's already talk that this game might bring in the highest ratings. The only game that'll be higher is the Super Bowl, obviously, but this could be the highest rated game in second game in all of television and cable and internet and stuff like that. That's what they're talking about. You have two top quarterbacks who want to get to the Super Bowl, like you said, both MVP candidates. Um, High powered offense. Potentially, it'll be cold, so sometimes that slows the offense down. Um, Baltimore's a 1 point favorite in Buffalo. I don't think I've never seen that. I can't remember if I did. I've never seen uh, a team as good as Buffalo be any type of underdog in their own stadium in a game with a team that won as many games as they did. But again, I think Lamar Jackson's going to be the MVP when it's all said and done, and it sets up a incredible game. The Ravens have, of course, Derrick Henry, who could be the edge. He might be the deciding factor in the game. He's a veteran. He's one of the best running backs in the league. He can also block on passing, which is immensely important. And the Bills will counter like they have Cook, they have Shakir, the wide receiver, so they have plenty of offense. So this is probably going to be a game, unless we're completely wrong. This could be a game where whoever has the ball last wins the game, Mike. That could be one of those type of games we'll see Sunday night or early evening when they play the game.
The Bills have a good offensive lineman. They have good receivers as well. They thought that it was gonna be. I mean, even myself, I thought it was gonna be like, how are they gonna recover after losing Stephon Diggs? But man, you have guys that are stepping up left and right. Offensive coordinator has done a good job. The entire offense, the entire coaching staff. So again, I hope this comes down to a very tight, close game. I don't see this a lopsided whatsoever.
No, I don't think it'll be unless something like crazy where one defense is just tremendous in the game for whatever reason. It'll be a close game. Like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of points scored, and it's probably going to come down to the last possession or so in the game. That's what I think anyway.